Hey crew, I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an update. We are still broken down here in Whitehorse, Yukon, and thankfully I had subscribers out here that offered me a piece of their land to park my van on until my van gets repaired. They've asked me not to film here, so all these shots are going to be in nice and close just to give them the privacy that they asked for. But when I got here, I phoned every single mechanic shop. They all said, no, sorry, we can't fix your van until late September, mid-October, somewhere in there. And I called them all. And then I put a post on YouTube, and my subscribers went to they were calling everybody, to the point that mechanic shops are like, dude, we've had 3 people call about you and your van. But nobody could pull a string to get me in. And thankfully, we met an awesome dude called Caesar. He was in my video in Dawson City. He's from Whitehorse. So when my van broke down, I messaged Caesar because we exchanged numbers. And my bro, here's my situation. He's like, yo, I got you, man. I got you. I'm like, are you freaking serious? So we now call him King Caesar around here. So if you ever see him around this channel, he's now known as King Caesar. So after all the stress I went through yesterday, I didn't film anything because I had a roller coaster of a day before Caesar got here. And I know when I put up my community post, for those who've seen it, I still had 2 videos yet to come out before you guys caught up to me. Now you guys are right caught up to me. So what's happening today goes up tomorrow. So I didn't film anything yesterday. I went through everything in here. I'm like, okay, well, what's it going to cost me to fly Lauren out here and get the parts out here and have Lauren come help me? And then I was looking at the options of possibly shipping my van back to the shop, which is super expensive. And then I found a transport company from here that said, look, we can take your van next day from here into Edmonton. The cost for that ship would have been $1,500. Then I would have had to have found a repair guy in Edmonton. So I was going through everything yesterday because the thought of being stuck here for a month, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sick and tired of the breakdown stuff and the stress that it gives me. So I was trying to find ways to just get the van back, just call this summer trip done and just get the van back. And then after Caesar got off work, he came by the property here and he dropped the transmission on the van yesterday, pulled the exhaust off, got everything off. We all dropped the transmission together. I just supported it. Caesar did all the work. And Mark here helped out too as well. And my gosh, we dropped it down and we found the problem. So they were all worried that it might have been like a cracked crank shaft or something like that. But every bad scenario was thrown out there. And thankfully, it was a broken flywheel or flex plate, whatever you want to call that freaking thing. So it's a plate that goes between your torque converter, which is attached to your transmission, and then it's the plate that mounts to your engine. And that plate transfers everything between the two. So what was happening was the section that was connected to the engine, that centerpiece where it bolts to the engine was still attached to the engine. The flywheel was detached from that. It literally sheared all the way around off so clean that it looks like, oh my gosh, it looks like it was machined. Let me show you. So this is the piece right here. This is the flex plate or flywheel, whatever it's called. So this here is what bolts to the engine. And then this goes over the torque converter. Check it out. So this was attached to the engine, like bolted to it. And this was just rolling around there freely. So when you tried to start it, it was just rotating this and it was not turning the engine. So when I was driving, it came disengaged from here. So when the engine was trying to turn and send power back to the transmission, it was just spinning this freely inside of here. Like perfectly just spinning. Then when you tried to start it and the starter wanted to turn this, it wasn't turning the engine over. That's insane. That's like a perfectly machined circle. That is freaking nuts. So then that posed the problem here today. And getting parts out here, well, it's not as easy as I would have hoped. Hi, buddy. We're stuck out here, aren't we, bro? So I called every parts store in town and they all gave me the same story, like it was no big deal. Yeah, no problem, sir. It'll be about a week and a half. where I'm normally used to, like when we're on the island, we need a part. If we gotta wait, it's usually next day is the longest wait. And I'm like, my gosh, but that's normal out here, I guess. So any of the shipments that come in from Edmonton or Calgary come in via ground. So it can take over a week before those things arrive here. So I was like, man, I wish there was a Lordco Auto Parts here. So I called Lordco Auto Parts, the place that we use all the time. And they're all over the place, Alberta and BC. And the guys at Lordco are like, hey, man, we've got one of those in Edmonton. Would you like us to ship that to you? And their ability to ship it to me was way faster than waiting for a local parts store to get me that part, which didn't make sense. But hey, Lordco went the extra mile. But then we ended up finding one on Vancouver Island. So I called our friend Ron at RFX. I think it's RFX. I'll leave it here at the bottom. RFX Transport. They do like hotshot deliveries from all over the island. Awesome. So if you're on the island and you need something picked up, that guy's the go-to. So we found one at the Ladysmith Lordco. And I called them today. I said, hey, can you pick up a part today and then drive that part down island tomorrow and drop it off at the airport at 8 a.m.? He's like, sure, Chrome, we can hotshot that. No problem. And literally within like 40 minutes of my phone call to him, he was already picking up the part that we need, has it in hand, wrote my name and phone number and everything on it. And tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., they're dropping it off in Sydney, BC on Vancouver Island to Air North or North Air, whatever it's called, that are flying that part right up to me here in Whitehorse, Yukon. Don't know what it's going to cost. It's just a small package, so it shouldn't be too much. But they do cargo shipments up here multiple times a day, leaving from Vancouver and Vancouver Island right up here. So it's going to come. So the part will either be here tomorrow. If it arrives here too late, the lady said I should have it the following morning. So the part leaves tomorrow morning, which means we are so close to getting this thing back on the road. Hail King Caesar. So underneath the van here, that's my transmission. Right there, just lying on the ground. So right on the front of the transmission there, that's the torque converter. That's where the flywheel goes over. So that might be a little bit hard to see, but right there on the back of the engine, there's that round thing right there. That's where the centerpiece attaches to. So I don't know if that makes sense to some of you. So this gets bolted onto the red thing you've seen in there on the transmission. And this part bolts to the back of the engine, allowing both those pieces to spin together. Transmission and engine. I pulled everything apart here. The drive shaft came off. My muffler's hull had to be taken off in order to drop the transmission out. I went through and started cleaning up a bit of my van today, and that's what this stuff is here. It's a ruckus. I plan on taking some time tomorrow and just getting this thing cleaned up while we're waiting for those parts to arrive. But getting things flown into remote areas is probably the fastest and best way, especially if you can source those parts quick somewhere else. And it was really, really simple. I phoned Air North. I'm like, hey, I have a package I would like to be sent from Vancouver Island to Whitehorse. How does that work? She's like, you need to call our cargo department. Here's the phone number. So I phoned the cargo department and they're like, sure, how big is your package? I'm like, it's just small. They're like, no problem. Drop it off here. We'll call you. You pay for it. And then just make sure you write your information on it and a phone number, and they'll call you when it hits Whitehorse. And they said, if you get it here in the morning, it should fly out the same day, getting it here the same day, and then picking up tomorrow or later that day if it arrives before the offices close here and they're not capable of calling out. But I wanted to get that package here fast, not only to get us on the road faster, but to also not sit here for too long. Because when someone offers you a place to park your van, I don't know if they're expecting you to stay there for a whole entire month. You know, I don't want to overstay my welcome somewhere. So getting out of here for that reason too is really, really, really important. And besides, we got a bit more left on our summer travel, so I'd like to go do a little bit. But on the note of that part, So I was talking to Lauren and we were talking about that section between the engine and the transmission. I said, hey, is there any way for us to beef up that section with maybe a thicker flex plate so it doesn't break like that, and maybe a better torque converter, making all that connection between the new engine and the transmission stronger? Lauren's like, we can absolutely do that. And I kind of wish I would have done that before. But when we got the engine, Ford in the USA said it should just snap right onto our transmission, no problem, easy peasy, and it did. But I never thought about those parts in there becoming weak points. And that's a brand new flex plate from when that transmission was on. It's all brand new in there. So we're going to get beefier ones. Won't be with this part that's coming because we just want to get back on the road fast. And then because we have a short amount of time left on this season before we're back on the island. So maybe sometime over the winter, we'll beef up that section as well too. Breakdowns suck, you guys. Oh my gosh. But anyway, guys, I'll keep you updated as that unfolds. Maybe tomorrow's video, we'll find out that that part is here. Probably dreaming, but you never know. I will be filming every day along this whole process, so you all be up to date on how fast those parts come here. And I'm stoked to find out. I'm stoked to find out if it actually gets dropped off at 8 o'clock tomorrow, if it flies out at 9. I guess there's a morning plane that goes out like 9 or 10 or whatever time it is. I'll find out first thing in the morning. How cool. Oh my gosh. At this point, I was like, dude, someone helicopter this thing right to me. Give me that part. Let's get back on the road. Cruzy doesn't really mind too much. He's been chilling and relaxing. Hey, he didn't like it when we were doing all the engine work. I think his PTSD kicked in. He's like, oh, Dad, are we really back here again? So I'm trying to keep my spirits up, but yesterday kicked the crap out of me. It was a freaking rough day. Hold on, guys. I got to take this. That was just some of my friends checking in to make sure that me and Cruzy are doing okay out here. And yes, we are. I want to say thank you to Kayla and Mark for allowing us to stay here for as long as we need to. And to King Caesar for bringing your expertise over here and giving me some hope that we're not going to be stuck here forever. Because prior to Caesar and everybody saying no to us around town for getting me repaired, I thought we were doomed. And that's a really big problem for traveling to smaller remote areas, is if you do have a breakdown, it's a struggle to find somebody to do the work. And from what I understand is that all these shops are just understaffed. And also I heard that it's hunting season over here and nobody wants to work. That some of the people were just like, yeah, sorry, man, it's hunting season. You're going to have to wait till the season to hunt. I think it's only a couple weeks of the hunting season or something like that. And because I guess out here, that's why meat around here, if you go to any grocery stores, I know I talked about this in my Q&A. If you try to buy meat anywhere, it's super expensive at the grocery store, except for out here. It's a decent price in Whitehorse. But the smaller towns, it's because nobody buys it. Everybody hunts for their food out here. So hunting season is important. And I think that's why a lot of the shops are like, yeah, dude, not right now. Oh my gosh. But yeah, we're doing okay here. I don't like the feeling of being stranded, but I'm stranded in a pretty decent spot right now. I do have access to power, or at least I think I do. She said if we needed to plug in, they could probably make it happen. I charged up my jackeries, so we've been running everything we can in here except for the lights and my fridge, because my fridge is hardwired into my van, so it doesn't have a plug on it, or I would have put that onto the jackery as well. So we charged our jackeries over here already, but that's a long way away from where my van is parked. So I'm not sure if they have an extension cord that long, but we're gonna need to plug in my home at some point. Currently right now, my home is at 46%. So I've been editing on my jackery. So tomorrow I'm gonna go plug my jackery back in. So we've been editing on my jackery, and we've also been running my Starlink off of the jackery as well too. We're getting okay cell phone service here. So I've been trying to upload my videos on cell phone instead of using Starlink. But yeah, 46%. That's only going to give me maybe another 2 days of minimal usage, like shut the lights off kind of usage. That fridge back there is running full time right now. The compressor's kicking on, kicking off, kicking on, kicking off. So even just that thing alone will be enough to pull 10% out of here in the next couple of days anyway, let alone me charging my cell phone and laptop and things like that. But anyway, guys, that's all I wanted today, was just to give you an update on what's going on with us. Nice, simple little video here. Yeah, I got nothing else, guys. My body feels wiped out. That was one heck of a stressful day. Thankfully, today had some really good news. You know, it all started last night when Caesar and them dropped. And I was thinking I should have ran my camera last night, but after the day I had yesterday, I was just not in the mood at all until the transmission got dropped and Caesar's like, yes! I'm like, what? He's like, that's it. It was just the flex plate or flywheel. And I was like, is that good news? He's like, 100% good news. He goes, that could have been a mess down there and we could have had a broken shaft and that would have meant that's it. We'd just tow my van back because nobody out here could have done a job that big in a timely manner. So, but it was good news. And then as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, I wish I would have filmed last night. Dropping all that stuff down here in the dirt because I'm literally parked in the dirt. But anyway, guys, that's all I got. Me and Cruz are going to go. We're going to go sit here and watch some Netflix tonight. I've been watching a lot of Marco. If you haven't looked up Marco on YouTube, my gosh, what a creative painter he is. He's just an artist. And he just goes and knocks on people's doors and says, hey, can I paint stuff? It's fun and just uplifting. And he's just, it is so... I binge watched that thing today. It was ridiculous. All right, you guys, that's all I got for you. I'll check in with you guys tomorrow, okay? Thanks for riding along. I'll see you soon. Is there anything you'd like to add? Hey? Is there any little input you'd like to make to this video? Any input at all? All right, buddy.